It was a sunny Saturday afternoon in the quiet suburb of Maplewood Heights, the kind of place where manicured lawns and white picket fences try to hide the ugliness that sometimes lived behind them. 17-year-old Jamal Carter was just trying to make a little extra cash mowing lawns around the neighborhood. He was tall, polite, and hardworking, the kind of kid every parent should be proud of. But that day, doing the right thing would somehow make him the target of someone else's hate. Jamal was cutting the grass in front of Mrs. Turner's house, a sweet old lady who'd known him since he was a kid. He wore his old headphones, humming along to his favorite song, sweat glistening on his forehead under the afternoon sun. As he pushed the mower, a sleek white SUV rolled slowly past. Inside was a woman named Karen Whitmore, a newcomer to the neighborhood who thought her fancy address gave her authority over everyone else. She noticed Jamal and immediately frowned. She didn't see a hard-working teen. She saw a suspicious young black man in a neighborhood she thought he didn't belong in. Karen slowed down, glaring at Jamal as he emptied the mower bag near the curb. Her lips tightened. She pulled out her phone and started recording. "Excuse me, what are you doing here?" she shouted from her car. Jamal pulled out one earbud, confused but polite. Mowing Mrs. Turner's lawn, ma'am. I do this every weekend." But Karen wasn't listening. Her voice grew sharp, dripping with accusation. "Don't play smart with me. I've never seen you before. You don't live here, do you?" Jamal tried to stay calm. "No, ma'am. I live 2 streets over. Mrs. Turner hires me. Save it." Karen snapped, dialing 911. "Yeah, I'd like to report a trespasser. There's a young man snooping around homes. I think he's up to something." Jamal's heart sank. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "I'm just working," he said, more to himself than to her. Neighbors began peeking through windows, some watching in silence, others shaking their heads. Within minutes, the sound of sirens echoed down the street. 2 police cruisers pulled up, lights flashing. Karen stood proudly beside her car, arms folded, as if she had just saved a neighborhood. Jamal put his hands up calmly, praying the situation wouldn't spiral out of control. "Officers, I'm just cutting grass," he said, trying to explain. The officers stepped out, one young and tense, the other older, composed, with a look of calm authority. The older officer squinted at Jamal. His eyes widened in recognition. "Jamal, is that you?" he asked. Jamal blinked, startled. "Uncle Ray?" The crowd went silent. Karen's smug grin faltered. Officer Raymond Carter, Jamal's uncle, walked over, shaking his head in disbelief. "What's going on here?" he asked. Karen straightened, suddenly nervous. "Oh, officer, thank goodness you're here. This young man was trespassing. I caught him loitering near someone's home." "I thought, you thought wrong." Officer Carter cut in. "This is my nephew. He's doing honest work. He mows lawns for half the block, including Mrs. Turner's. Did you even bother to ask before calling the police?" Karen's face flushed crimson. I was just trying to keep the neighborhood safe." The other officer, trying not to smirk, muttered under his breath, "Safe from what?" "A lawnmower." Jamal stood quietly, watching as his uncle stepped closer to Karen. "Ma'am, do you know what could have happened if the wrong officer showed up today? You could have ruined this boy's life because of your assumptions." Karen stammered, "I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did." Officer Carter said firmly. "You saw a young black man and assumed he didn't belong. That's not keeping the neighborhood safe. That's discrimination." The crowd began murmuring. A few neighbors nodded in agreement. Mrs. Turner herself came outside, her walker squeaking on the pavement. "That boy's been helping me for years," she said loudly. "He's more family to me than half this street." Karen looked around, realizing no one was on her side. Her confidence crumbled. Officer Carter turned to his nephew. "You okay, son?" Jamal nodded, though his eyes glistened with hurt. "Yeah, Uncle Ray. Just tired of being treated like a suspect for trying to earn $1. Officer Carter put a hand on his shoulder. "Keep holding your head high. People like her don't define you." Karen, now humiliated, mumbled something about a misunderstanding and hurried back to her car. But Officer Carter wasn't done. "Ma'am," he said, stopping her. "Before you go, I'll be filing a report for false reporting and racial harassment. Maybe next time, you'll think before dialing 911 just because someone doesn't look like you. The street fell silent again as Karen froze, realizing her harmless call had real consequences. She drove away in shame, her tires crunching over the gravel. As the cruisers pulled off, the neighbors surrounded Jamal, offering apologies and words of encouragement. Mrs. Turner gave him a hug. "Don't let one hateful person make you doubt your worth," she said softly. Later that evening, Officer Carter sat on the porch with his nephew. The sunset painted the sky gold. "You handled that better than most adults would have," he said. Jamal shrugged. "Guess I'm used to it." "You shouldn't have to be," his uncle replied. "But remember this, dignity is the strongest revenge. You didn't yell, didn't fight, didn't stoop to her level. You showed her who you are without saying a word." Jamal smiled faintly. "Thanks, Uncle Ray." The next day, a video of the incident went viral. Not the one Karen had planned to use to expose him, but the one filmed by a bystander showing the truth. Millions watched as a racist woman was corrected by the very officer she expected to back her up. Comments poured in, "This is justice." Proud of that young man. The uncle handled it perfectly. A week later, Karen moved out of the neighborhood quietly, unable to face the backlash. As for Jamal, his small lawn mowing business boomed. People from all over town began hiring him, saying they wanted to support his work. He saved enough to buy better equipment, and even started teaching other teens how to earn honest money through small jobs. The experience that was meant to shame him ended up making him stronger. In the end, the story wasn't just about racism. It was about resilience, about how truth and grace can overpower hate. Because sometimes, life has a way of humbling those who think they're better than others. And as Officer Carter said that day, when you judge someone without knowing their story, you might just end up being a lesson.